What if we told you that your workplace, the place you spend so much time, might function a little bit like a cult?
No, hold on. We don't mean anything sinister. No secret handshakes or anything.
No. It's more about the subtle stuff, the power dynamics, the influence, how groups actually behave under the surface, beneath the official org chart. Welcome to Deep Dive. This is where we take your sources and really dig in to find those surprising nuggets of knowledge.
And today we're diving into something pretty fascinating. It's from excerpts called Friends and Vultures, Workplace Cults and Power Dynamics.
Right. And our mission here is to understand those unspoken rules,
Oh.
the influence, the group psychology that quietly shapes our work life. I want to help you get incredibly well informed about these hidden forces.
Forces that are definitely at play in, pretty much any organization.
Okay, so let's unpack this idea. Workplace cults. It sounds pretty intense, right?
It does, but the source doesn't frame it as negative, surprisingly. It's seen as strategic, almost.
Yeah, it's basically about seeing people as your number one resource for getting ahead.
Yeah.
And deliberately building what the source calls your faction.
Your faction, like your inner circle.
Exactly. The people who will genuinely help push you up the ladder. The text even says it's so important, you might need to rethink your whole approach to people management or get a crash course.
Which is interesting because, again, the text is really clear. This isn't about anything shady.
No.
It's really just about understanding influence, how relationships are, the real currency.
So how do you start?
Well, it suggests simple observation first, like pick your boss. How much do people genuinely seem to like them?
Okay.
Is the atmosphere kind of stern, hierarchical? Or is it more relaxed, collaborative? Does the team's work really reflect the boss's best, potential?
Right. So looking beyond just their title.
Exactly. And you can learn a lot just by watching these dynamics, not just with your boss, but across different departments, with colleagues, in project teams. It's like reading the room before you try to rearrange the furniture.
I think that's such a key starting point, moving past the job titles and looking at the actual, human connections. And this is where it gets really interesting. The source just jumps right into what it calls power equations. These exist in every workplace.
Power equations, like who really calls the shots?
Kind of. It points out people who maybe don't have the highest qualifications on paper or the top title, but they have way more political clout, more influence than their job description suggests.
Yeah. We all know that type, don't we? They're not officially the head, but they act like it. They speak without authority.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, who is the actual boss sometimes?
Right. This raises a big question for anyone trying to navigate their career. Who really has the power? And how do they use it?
The text talks about how these people have so much influence that, like you said, you might genuinely wonder who's in charge.
And they can make you believe the official boss will back them up completely. Like 100%.
Yeah, it creates this dynamic where you really, really don't want to cross them.
Definitely not. Because imagine how embarrassing it would be if you tried to go around them, tried to verify their authority.
Only to find out, oh wait, the actual boss is totally okay with this. They've given their consent.
Precisely. It's a subtle kind of delegated power, but it's very real.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And the source also points out, sometimes this authority isn't permanent. It can be just for a specific project, ad hoc.
Oh, okay. Like temporary power.
Yeah, think of maybe an assistant manager who's suddenly acting like a director, but only for this one initiative.
Got it.
So for you, the smart observer, you absolutely have to understand these situations first before you assume anything or, step on someone's toes accidentally.
Right. It's about context, not just the org chart.
Which connects back to the bigger picture, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Any manager or really anyone trying to build their career smartly needs to grasp these power relationships, understand the sort of intercultural dynamics before they try to change things.
Before trying to influence the business chemistry, as the source puts it.
Yeah, it's essential groundwork. Knowing this helps you avoid hitting roadblocks or facing resistance from people who maybe don't like your ideas.
And who are ready to use their cult, their network, to push back.
Exactly. And it's also about spotting who you need on your side.
Yeah.
Whose approval matters. Understanding that whole web of relationships.
So how do these influential people actually operate? The text gets specific.
Oh yeah, how so?
Well, they might not challenge someone directly, not in big meeting, but they use subtle ways.
Like what?
Through their words, maybe, or actions, or even inaction, little gestures, things that quietly discourage others from cooperating with an idea or a person they don't favor.
The subtle sabotage.
Kind of. And what it means is potential supporters for your great idea. They might be too scared to speak up.
Unless
These key influential people have given some kind of signal, like a nod of consent.
Right. People don't want to stick their necks out. They want to avoid being labeled or maybe even subtly punished or left out.
Exactly. And the source really stresses these powers are real. You have to recognize them, respect them. It calls it part of cult building and maintenance. It's always shifting.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot to think about just on power dynamics.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about decision-making in organizations.
Right. Groups are obviously key there.
Yeah, get everyone around the table. Marketing, finance, Sales, ops, everyone's smiling, looking sociable.
But the source says it's rarely just about pure logic.
Not at all. It's often like a performance of rationality.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is how perspectives from different departments, these subcultures, color what the source calls silo rationality.
So it's high-low rationality.
Yeah, so decisions often aren't purely rational because individuals have limits, right?
Right.
How much info they can process. Plus, you've got competing demands from different teams.
Like marketing wants one thing, finance wants another.
Exactly. Each has its own version of what's rational. And this is where conformity, groupthink, or what the source calls cult psychology, really kicks in.
Influencing everyone's local rationality, pushing them towards the group consensus.
Right. And it's all about making the organization look excellent, keeping up appearances.
So internal influences, external pressures, they all push for conformity.
Which is where things can get a bit murky, as the source points out.
Yeah, there's this really specific kind of unsettling story in the text about a manager who got caught up in manipulating production data.
Oh, wow. To protect the group image.
Exactly. It's like a perfect storm of this cult psychology.
Okay, tell me about this story. It sounds like it really shows the pressure people can be under.
It does. So this manager, his job involved merging production data. And he started tweaking the weekly figures for some small departments. Little changes, adding or deleting imaginary numbers.
But small enough not to raise red flags.
Exact. They were described as infinitesimal. They didn't really affect the big company-wide picture.
Okay.
But then the text says he bailed his boss out once by fixing a mistake the boss made in a report quietly.
So the boss knew he could adjust things.
Seems like it. Because later, there was some interruption. Production figures tanked for a bit. And the boss came to him again.
And asked him to?
Explicitly asked him to manipulate the data to smooth out embarrassing information. To protect the vice president.
Wow. Direct pressure.
Yeah. And the manager felt he couldn't say no. Couldn't protest. But he felt really uncomfortable that other people knew he could do this.
I bet. So he did it.
He did it. It was all to make his boss look good. And the executives got a nice, tidy report, pleasing to their ears, as the text says. Probably no idea about the fudge numbers.
That's quite a story. It really shows how that pressure isn't always loud yelling. It can be an expectation. Preserve the image.
Totally. So what does this mean for the groups you're in? For the decisions you see being made?
Well, it shows how groups push for conformity, doesn't it? Through subtle pressure, direct pressure, sometimes throwing accuracy right out the window.
Yeah, the story matters more than the truth sometimes.
And this isn't like a one-off thing. The source points out that groups often feel okay, even comfortable, as long as there's some data, even if they kind of suspect it's biased or not quite right.
Everyone just drifts along.
Pretty much. There's not much space to voice suspicions or doubts or to really evaluate things rationally.
Especially in these cults. There's no time, maybe no desire to really look at all the options.
Right, and adventurism, like taking risks or doing things differently, that's discouraged, especially if there's a way things have always been done.
The old working antecedents. Comfort in the familiar.
It often overrides trying something new, even if the new way might be better.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
So what's the long-term damage of just drifting along, this quiet acceptance?
Well, the text notes that once a group solves a problem, they rarely spend enough time figuring out how to stop it happening again, like proper contingency planning.
It's reactive, not proactive.
Exactly. And ironically, people on the outside might see this group agreement, this unanimity, and think, wow, they're so efficient, so strong.
But
Internally, that drift, that push for consensus, it actually makes it harder for anyone to speak up with a different opinion. It weakens individual dissent within the cult.
Because dissent breeds suspicion. That's what the source says. It's like you're betraying the group.
Yeah, which leads to this really profound point about the group's mindset. Cults feel invulnerable, and this powers their optimism.
Invulnerable. Wow.
It's this collective feeling that makes them ready to take risks. Members trust the leaders, follow directives, often just assuming the leaders know best, even if warning signs are flashing.
A sort of shared delusion.
You could say that. And it means members easily dismiss warnings, threats, negative feedback. They just brush it off as irrational.
Thinking, oh, that's just not how things work around here, or that won't happen to us.
Right. And the trust in the group's morality, this feeling that we're the good guys, that often overrides any personal ethical concerns an individual might have.
So they might enforce rules inside the group.
But they'll close ranks hard against any external criticism of the group or its members.
Only the foolish dare to oppose the group. That's a stark quote from the source.
It really is. It highlights that strong self-preservation instinct.
And psychologically, how does that affect individual members day to day?
Well, the text wraps this up by saying members try really hard not to deviate from the group norms. They practice self-censorship.
To avoid pressure if they look like they don't fit in.
Exactly. That feeling of unanimity, even if it's totally an illusion, gets seen as healthy, necessary for the group to function.
And the crucial part, silence is taken as agreement.
Which creates this feedback loop. Critical thoughts get stifled before they're even spoken. You end up in an echo chamber.
Wow. Okay, so we started started with this maybe provocative idea, workplace cults.
Yeah.
But going through the source, it turns into this really powerful, if sometimes hidden, way to understand influence. Those unseen power dynamics, the psychology driving decisions in, well, any organization you might be in.
Definitely. We've seen how your faction can be strategic, how hidden power players can steer things subtly, how conformity shapes data, shapes decisions.
And we've also looked at the dark side, haven't we?
Yeah, the way individual critical thinking can get eroded, how warnings get ignored, how that drive for agreement can make a group feel invulnerable.
Sometimes risking ethics or long-term planning or even the organization's health.
So for you, the listener, understanding this stuff isn't just interesting theory. It's a really vital tool for navigating your own work life with more awareness, more insight, a more critical eye maybe.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. Next time you're in a meeting or just watching a project happen at work, ask yourself this.
How much of what you're seeing is truly rational, logical decision-making, based purely on the fact?
And how much is maybe being influenced by those unseen currents, consensus, hidden power players, or even just people quietly censoring themselves around the table?
What could you gain in your situation by learning to read the silence better, or by figuring out whose nod of consent actually carries the real weight?
The answers might just surprise you.